Greetings, fellow fragrance friends and lovers. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about Demi. Is Demi who she is, or what really is going on with Demi, and what does FragCom need to hear? This is going to be more of a video about what FragCom is and how to really help men understand really this issue, because critical thinking seems to be a difficult issue for people these days. And again, my channel is going to be called Daddy. Women are very welcome here, and women are would love your input, but this channel is going to be become focused more on helping men understand social and current issues and how to improve their lives, because simply a lot of men that come from fatherless households. They're not raised in public schools. There's no there's no men role models or figures in their lives as teachers in schools is what I meant, and there's simply very few places where men can hear any real information, critiques, or debates and have a back and forth. So that's what this channel is going to become. So without further ado, let's talk about Demi. So should we have sympathy for Demi is how many would lead into this discussion or debate today. Should we have sympathy? Is she just some rich woman, or some people have used a more derogatory term? Is she privileged? That's not really the topic. That's not really what we're talking about. But yes, I think we should have some sympathy. Losing money, even if it's $30 or $50. I mean, heck, I hate when if I ever go to get some fast food and somebody messes up my order and I lose $5. And I don't have a lot of money, but losing, even if it's only 10% of or less of your income, like Demi, we'll talk more about that in a second. But even if it's only 10% or less of your income, losing money that you've earned, something that you deserve, or that should be yours. It's not really exactly about the number of the money, even though perspective wise it's not a big loss for somebody who's that wealthy like Demi is, but it's more of about more of a personal type, or so it's more than just the money is what I'm saying. So what the real issue here, we'll talk about at the end of the video if we should have sympathy or not. But what really, to me, the issue here is Demi's double dipping. And this is really common in social media these days. In the past, if you were getting Google ad revenue, which essentially is YouTube money, it's Google AdSense, Google ad revenue, and you were asking for Patreon, that was seen as pretty greedy. But now that's kind of normal. But she is asking for Google AdSense, money through YouTube advertising, Patreon, which is, again, that's kind of normal, but now she also wants Patreon, I guess to make up for the difference of what she's lost, because she thinks she deserves that income that she used to have be coming in, and this might be the approach she uses going forward. YouTubers and content creators in the past have done this. Do I personally think that it's a great way to go about it? I don't know. You're kind of putting more responsibility or weight onto your people who view or are fans of yours. I suppose if people like your content that much, they will, and there are some people out there who are very successful and make full-time living off of being making Patreon money, making content, because there's enough demand and there's enough people willing to pay for the content that you're making. So if there's a demand for it, if people are willing to pay, who am I to say that that is a bad thing? But if she does make a different channel, or if she is getting Google money, through YouTube again, Patreon money, and she's making these Dubai deals with brands, all three, I think that's a little bit out of character. I think that's a little bit too far. You should have one, maybe two. Really, two is arguably too much. But having all three, I guess everybody takes advantage of everything they can these days. So that's really a topic of debate. Another thing is, should we really? I guess getting into the sympathy thing. My issue with her demanding Patreon money isn't really about asking for the money. Again, if there's demand, again, capitalism or whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, certainly not a bad thing. I think it makes the world go round. People get what they need and what they want, and it makes things work. It works. But the real issue is, I don't think she's never really engaged that much. Even with her audience, you can tell that she doesn't comment that often. Yeah, she does some likes and some comments, but she's never been extremely proactive. Yes, she has gotten to the point where she would have to spend her entire day responding to comments. So that's not really something that's practical. She could hire somebody to fake that, and famous people do that. Famous actors and stuff hire bots or hire people to manage their social media accounts. But I do think that there could have been more, even when she first started, meaningful feedback or conversation. Um, some people have argued that she's never collaborated. I don't think she has to collaborate or share her subscriber base or her viewership with others. I don't think that's really the tipping point or what would make me say that she's not a team player or part of FragCom. That's not really, to me, it's more of your engagement. And do you seem authentic? Do you seem to care about other people? And really, that's to me with the FragCom. I've never viewed her as really a part of FragCom. Just like Jeremy Fragrance, they've never really got onto other people's YouTube channels, got in their comment sections, supported other content creators, just being friendly, just having conversations. I don't know who Demi is friends with, or who she talks to in Facebook or Instagram Messenger or whatever. But certainly she doesn't reach out to small and visibly or openly to much of anybody. And that's not terribly a bad thing, being a lone wolf or being an outsider. And I'm not even saying she's one of that or she is that, but I can even respect that if she was to have almost no engagement with others. So that's not my issue. But if you want to take that approach where you have less, I'm not saying no engagement, but less engagement with an actual community of people who are friends with each other, who engage with each other and support each other, and then you try to put this weight upon all of FragCom, and again, she wasn't really calling, and she did more than just call upon her audience. It seems she calling upon all of FragCom. To me, that's quite ridiculous. But let's get into the real issue, what really caused this, and you might be curious what even caused this to begin with. So the real issue with with her money is good. Again, if you don't know, if you are a YouTuber making YouTube money, you're not making money from YouTube. It's really Google owns YouTube. So Google advertisements through Google AdSense, you set up a Google AdSense account like any website would to make advertising money. And so that really is the issue. Now, I don't know every single detail and every single specific thing about Demi with this, but it seems to me that she changed where she wanted the money to be sent. I don't make a lot of money, and if you want to criticize me in this video, or if you think it's that big of an issue, I could shut off my Google my money that I get. I make like $100 every 4 or 5 months. I make almost nothing. It's not even minimum wage for the time, and I live in a poor state. I'm talking about like $7 an hour over here, not 15. And some people think 15 you can't live off of. I'd be happy with 15. Anyways, this I don't exactly know what she did. I think pretty sure that she tried to change where the money was being sent to. I don't know if she was getting her Google AdSense money sent to a bank in Australia. I think that's that has happened, and I think that's the issue. And to me, that certainly seems like that's what's happening. So that's what I'm going to base my conjecture or what this whole thing on. So she decided to change the location because she's moving to Dubai. I don't want to get into why you would move to Dubai. Certainly, a lot of opportunity. She's making a lot of brand deals, and she is becoming a spokeswoman or spokesperson for these Middle Eastern companies, and she's doing very well for herself. And there's, Dubai is very wealthy, and she probably likes it over there. So I don't want to get into all the details and things you might think or want to say, but about that, but the real issue again here is that she made that change, and there's a couple things that could have gone wrong. Again, Google has had problems and does have problems, so it might have been a system error. I'm not really sure if that is really the case. If it's a system error, I think that's unlikely. But it could be. Google could have simply messed up, and she's trying to get it resolved because Google won't do it. I think that the real issue is a legal technicality, either with Dubai, but more likely Australia. If you're not familiar with Australia, Australia has a lot of regulations, a ton of regulations, and sending money out of the country is actually something very difficult to do. So she wanting to move, and she wanted to do this so it would be easier to transfer the money. If she had money being sent to an Australian bank, which I'm guessing is the case, transferring that money to Dubai or getting access to that money would be difficult. And you think that wouldn't be difficult these days with online banks, but there are some difficulties. Some people are saying that it's based off currency rate. She would be making more money based off currency. Transferring that money would have its own cost, and you would have to wait, and there'd be lots of paperwork. So maybe she was trying to avoid those things. I don't know with currency. I don't know if that would gain her any advantage that way, but certainly she would be wanting to avoid headaches, and I understand that. You should make things simpler on yourself, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if her money even was being sent to an actual Australian bank. It could have been a physical Australian bank, and that's might be where the headache coming from. I don't know why you wouldn't have created a Discover Bank or one of these online banking accounts that makes things more international, where you can use a Discover or especially like a MasterCard anywhere in the world. If you're an upcoming YouTuber, or avoid something potentially like this by making yourself a MasterCard or a Discover Card bank account, or joining a international bank where this money would be sent, and get that card so you can use it. And you could avoid something like this potentially in the future. So anyways, that's really the biggest issue, and I guess we could leave it there, but there's a lot more to this and the FragCom, and I want to help you men out. So understanding the issue, I think we've hammered that down. The real issue is there's some kind of technical or legal issue, and I think it's legal. So I'm going to say some points of advice, but right now I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. But Demi, get yourself a lawyer. You have enough money. You're making $60,000 a month off of ad revenue alone. $100, maybe $1 million brand deals with Parfums de Marly and Fragrance du Bois, and more. Why in the world would you make a decision like this that would risk so much without consulting a lawyer? If you get to the point where you're a millionaire, you should be able to have a lawyer in your back corner, and if it costs you $500 or $1,000, who cares? Get some real financial advice when you're going to make a decision. $1,000 for Demi is pennies at this point. And I'm not trying to ostracize her. There's wealthy people out there. Demi is certainly not the most wealthy, but that is ostracizing some people because she's not very relatable. I don't know what kind of struggles she had in the beginning of her life, but I've worked for $5 an hour, moving furniture, breaking my back, and I've worked mowing lawns, and then I was raised in religion and essentially gave all my blood, sweat, and tears money to religion, and then went to college, and then nobody would hire me, and even though I was a great, genuine guy. So I'm not trying to sing my own pity party here, but seriously, it's hard to relate to some of these people if you're a pretty gal these days, especially in the world of the internet, where people are throwing hundreds or thousands of dollars at you, and you don't even have to be an OnlyFans girl for that to happen. You can. Get into almost any industry and be a pretty face and kind of like take over the competition, especially if you're pretty. So let's talk about some of these different issues. Again, we talked about Australia and all that. Um, I guess you could say, why the freaking hell? I don't think FragCom should be concerned. I think it's outrageous that, again, Demi has hundreds of, thousands of people who watch her. But it's ridiculous that so many people in FragCom are ready to support her, or so actively supporting her. And we'll talk about some of that again later on. It's ridiculous that so many people are willing to talk about this issue and care about her, when again, she's not really a part of FragCom. This is 10% or less of her income. This is a mistake that she made, and that she could have avoided, most likely, and that's something that will be likely be resolved, soon enough. So she's essentially trying to stir up a little bit of controversy, and this is a common thing for especially bigger YouTubers, especially if you can find another bigger YouTuber who's willing to fight with you and cause drama. This is something that happens often. And if you have anything that's inconvenienced you, you have so much support, and you can really stir the pot and get more views, and that's really what's happening. So that sickens me. That and really, what are you going to do with trying to get people to support you? Messaging Google, maybe trying to find a Google representative or something that's going to fix your problem for you. That's not really how this needs to be handled. Google, and YouTube. Again, Google owns YouTube, so they're pretty much the same thing. Do they have lots of problems? Yes. Do they have a system? Do they a customer service? Do they need to respect everybody from 100 or 1,000 subs to 10 million subs, or whatever the case, or viewership or whatever? Yes, they certainly need to fix that. But again, this is not FragCom's problem. This is Demi's problem. And to me, it's so strange that there are real problems in FragCom, real things that we could be talking about, real issues, real people that need support, and ways that we could improve things. But instead, we're going to talk about how to give Demi more money, or get her money for her. To me, it's simply outrageous. So let's jump to my next discussion. I guess I'm going to lay down a little weight on Demi. In FragCom, does she deserve her popularity? I guess that's what I'll talk about here for a second. She's played the top 10 game, which works. Jeremy Fragrance did it, but I don't think it's I don't think you're a fragrance reviewer. If you're a fragrance reviewer, you're reviewing individual fragrances. You could do it in a different format and make a very long video that's a top 10. But doing top 10 videos is not reviewing fragrances. Reviews mean you actually go over all the aspects of the fragrance, and the details, what it smells like, what people think about it, how long it lasts, the bottle design, and all kinds of other things you could include. But simply doing a top 10 where you mention how it smells and maybe one or two notes, and say something, it got you some kind of reaction, is not reviewing a product. It's simply not. So does that mean, again, Demi's bad? No, I'm not saying Demi's a bad person or shouldn't exist, but you're not a fragrance reviewer. So, take that as a good or bad thing. I don't know what else to say about that. But I don't find that she's particularly entertaining. I don't. She's not particularly funny. Her mannerisms, she doesn't move very much. Again, you don't have to be highly animated to be entertaining, but she really doesn't do much. To me, she kind of stares at the camera, which might be rude to say, but I guess guys like staring at the eyes of a lady they find attractive. I don't find her content original. She certainly has not changed anything. She's just done top 10. She's not, hasn't done anything creative with her content. Certainly not original, creative, added anything in particular. So I think that's a problem. I don't even think she has particularly good editing. I don't. To me, maybe she does edit her videos, but to me it doesn't look really like she does much of any editing at all. And again, I don't like editing, so I understand that. And maybe she doesn't want to pay for editing, but and really her videos really don't need to be edited that much. Again, I don't like overtly flashy videos, but and with lots of things cut in and out and special effects. Sometimes that turns me off, but you know, it's nothing special is particularly about Demi. So again, she's made top 10 lists and aimed them towards men to be a salesperson. To me, the biggest issue is her being a salesperson. She's getting not only corporate deals with Parfums de Marly and Fragrance du Bois and the like, but she intentionally made her channel to sell fragrances to men. That's not being an enthusiast. That's not being somebody who is passionate about fragrances. Perhaps you could have somebody who's passionate about something and still be a salesperson. I suppose that could exist, but it doesn't happen very often. That, to me, that's the biggest issue. She's a sale. Some people have other words for it. I'm not really gonna say those, but being a corporate sellout, some people would say, and there's worse words for it. But doing that is really the biggest issue. And then to act like you're a part of the FragCom or you are FragCom, that's the kind of stuff that really got me riled up about Jeremy Fragrance. So again, I don't know what else to say about this. If she wanted to be a real a fragrance reviewer, she would authentically share the fragrances she liked. I guess you could say she does that for men, but we would see what fragrances she actually wears. And, we would hear about her testing the fragrance and getting reactions from guys. And maybe she would prove that to us. So there's plenty of channels that are far smaller who have, Street Sense and more, who have actually went and tested actual fragrances and got real reactions. Does Demi do anything like that? No. So I don't know. Maybe she is testing fragrances with her boyfriend or her dad or other people, and they smell a fragrance and get a reaction. But again, she's not even sharing the female fragrances with us. But maybe she is testing the men's fragrances and seeing what men actually like. But again, she heavily promoted Leighton, and Leighton's a fine fragrance, and it is nice. But again, comparing fragrances is important, and giving people understanding of what something is important. And if one person just promotes Leighton or promotes a fragrance and becomes a salesperson, why should a community of people who are hobbyists or passionate about something care about somebody who becomes a salesperson? Seriously. So that gets us into the big issue, or one of the bigger issues. It's essentially simps. And some people don't like this word. There's lots of people I see who, to me, are utterly ridiculous in this community, who say that nobody should use this word or it's overused. It's not overused. The word simps is not overused. I'll say it again. And simps needs to be talked about by everybody. It needs to become a common word. It needs to be known in the school system, and it needs to be a part of our culture, because this is a major social problem with our social dynamics and our culture. And it's going to help men realize that to be more accountable for themselves and to understand actual dating dynamics and actually have maybe a little bit of self-confidence, which used to be something that people talked about all the time, having a little bit of self-confidence. When you're a simp, you do not have self-confidence, and you're not improving yourself. So let's talk about that. It's one thing to care about Demi. Maybe you authentically, have some compassion, and you want and you care about Demi losing some of her money. Again, she deserves that money. That's perfectly fine. Duh, I understand that. Maybe you actually authentically, from your heart, want to go out there and message Google, message YouTube. Maybe try to go. You could go as far as going on LinkedIn and trying to contact some of the employees of Google or YouTube, and or even financial systems, or whoever could possibly help, and get the ball rolling to help her. Hey, more power to you if you want to do that. I could actually respect that. But the problem is when you, as a guy, we'll get into something particularly that might really bother some of y'all. But let's start it off this way. If you, as a guy, had a stronger reaction or a stronger urge to a desire to help Demi than you ever did with concerned about Robe08 leaving the FragCom, or my Mickers passing away, rest in peace, or Brooklyn Fragrance Lover passing away early, rest in peace. If you had a stronger reaction or cared more about Demi and got on this issue, and plenty of these guys are out here making these topics, and maybe you could say that they're doing it for the views. I don't know. Maybe they are doing it for the views. But if you did have a stronger reaction to help Demi and go out of your way to help her, then and this isn't necessarily a guy or a girl issue. This is again about the passion or the hobby. But again, these are guys, so you could mix that into it as well. Robes08, him leaving. If you cared more about Demi, you might be a simp. And I know that's going to make a lot of people mad, but I'll say it. It needs to be said. The gloves are off a little bit here in this video, and with my channel Daddy, I'm going to be a little bit more direct or provocative if I have to be. So let's sit down. What does simp even mean? And some people think it's overused, so let's talk about what a simp even is. So this word came from the word simpleton back like 100 years ago. So it was a shortened version of simpleton, simply meaning that you're not very smart, or essentially was a shortened version of simpleton about 100 years ago. Again, it meant that you were maybe not intelligent, or made things way too simple when they shouldn't have been simple. It was kind of derogatory, but wasn't that bad of a word. Over time, I think rappers started using it. It essentially meant a weak man who would do anything for a woman, let a woman use them or step on them, and really started exposing, because that when the rappers really started getting popular, it was a part of being like a young prince and being a lady boy. That has a different word these days, but the lady boy of the past, being the disposable player man that, kind of being desirable but used, really became a thing. So it's really interesting, the words and history, but essentially this word is not overused. There's a lot of men who think that they are going to get emotional validation. They're going to be appreciated and loved and even be romanced in OnlyFans, which, if you're not familiar with OnlyFans, essentially allows you to almost become a girlfriend over text in a way. Like if you were to get a girlfriend and then you were able to text them, some OnlyFans girls text a lot and some don't, but that's beside the point. It kind of lets you have you almost get the sense that you're in a relationship, but you have to pay for it. And a lot of guys are willing to pay for that without having to go through the risks and the heartaches and all the effort these days that a guy might have to go through. So there's if you want to help Demi, again, that's one thing. But if you're, again, a guy and you think Demi is going to actually personally recognize who you are, remember your darn name. She's not going to remember your name. Remember who you are. If you think that she's grateful to you on a personal level, no, and she's not going to fall in love with you and or marry you or whatever, do anything else. So that is really the issue. There's a lot of men who are willing to do a lot of work for Demi and do things for her, and even give more money, give a lot of money, and these simps also want you to help Demi and give Demi money, and this is kind of a part of our culture, and it used to be called friend zoning, and that's one reason it has evolved into this. Guys being put in that friend zone and the guys staying in that friend zone to be friends and hover around a woman in hopes of, that relationship going to the next level and trying to get out of that friend zone. So that used to be something that was talked about often as well, but now we don't really talk about that friend zone thing as much. So that's really where the simp thing. Hope you understand simps. Message me below if I made sense or if you have any questions. But simp has become an abbreviation, gonna be considered kind of derogatory. I might not really use it or mean it that way, but it does have an abbreviation if you do want to look that up as well. So and some people might say that Demi is not responsible. She's simply not responsible for men acting in that way and being that way. But she is. She, promotes, men liking her through her thumbnails that are provocative, showing some cleavage, and those kinds of things, and how she addresses her audience. She certainly wants men to be interested in her, and she wants men to be interested, possibly even think in this way that they might have a chance with her, because that's why a lot of people are following Demi. That's why a lot of people are watching Demi. They're not watching Demi to be educated about fragrances. They're not watching Demi to find a certain fragrance for a certain occasion, or become their best self, or particularly even go on dates. There might be some men who do, but there's a lot of men out there, no doubt, that are watching it because they have this, I don't know, romantic fantasy that they, might possibly date Demi. So, and I won't get into that if that's good or bad. A lot of the times, unhealthy. So let's break down what needs to happen. Let's cut to the chase and wrap up this video. Demi, go hire a lawyer. If you're gonna, I'm not sure if it's good to physically go back to Australia because Australia's laws are crazy, and go back to Australia and live there for a while and work with your local authorities. I'm not sure. You need to hire a lawyer. Maybe you need to move to Dubai and then work with the financial people there on your behalf. I'm not really sure. Australia has very restrictive and very strong laws about a lot of details, and I've seen some of it, and it is chaos. So it's quite crazy. So I'm sorry that you're going to have to go through some of that with Australia. Sorry. Anyways, the next point I have is Demi's channels have experienced this before. What I'm saying is many YouTube channels have experienced this before. So Demi, I mean, people are acting like this is a very personal thing, and it is personal for Demi, but that's the whole point. This is Demi's problem. You as a guy going out there contacting Google or YouTube or LinkedIn, going on LinkedIn or whatever the heck you could possibly do, I don't know if it's going to do much for Demi. This is her problem, and lots of channels have gone through these things before. You either start a new YouTube channel so you can get that ad revenue. Again, Demi hasn't got herself blocked or limited or shadow banned or anything like that. So start a new channel, move things over. This has happened before. People have outright had their channels deleted overnight. People are all of a sudden thinking that this is crazy. When I talk about the censorship and people act like this doesn't exist, and the YouTube apocalypses, and there have been hundreds of channels far bigger than Demi that have been deleted overnight and would never got their channels back, and all the political madness going on. So I'm not trying to say that Demi's life doesn't matter or this doesn't matter, but certainly there have been much bigger fish to fry and much bigger issues on YouTube. So I find it fascinating that so many people are making a big issue out of this. Next, life's not easy. I'm sure Demi doesn't need to hear me say this. I don't know if she'll ever watch this or care. Life's not easy. Hire a lawyer, hire a mentor, hire a financial consultant, have somebody in your back pocket, as they say. Again, I don't have much of anything like that, but I would like to one day. Again, I mentioned it before. If you're about to make a decision that could cost you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, pay pay a 500, maybe 1,000, maybe a couple thousand, and but before you make such a decision that could cause you huge problems, really. And that's what financially savvy people do. They hire brokers and brokerages and financial advisors and all kinds of things. So anyways, not trying to tear you down, Demi. I think that you've been treated wrong, or it's not. It's almost not even personal. It's just a thing that has been done by a system, and YouTube as a system with a whole lot of problems and an algorithm. Anyways, let's wrap to my final thoughts here. So again, I don't hate you, Demi. I'm not trying to tear you down, but I really get annoyed where some people are seen as almost the saviors or the leaders of FragCom whenever they're this is just a little bit of discomfort. Again, I don't know if Demi has been spending all of her money unwisely. I don't know, but if she's invested her money or even been somewhat even a little bit responsible for her money, she's very, very well off. And this is again why some people can't understand or just don't have much sympathy at all, because if she invested her money, she could easily have $5-10 million at this point, especially with her Dubai connections and whatever else she's done. It's just hard to relate to somebody like that, and she's certainly not relatable to me as far as me wanting to buy fragrances or interested in fragrances, but also as a person. So I don't understand why so many people feel like she's relatable. And again, some of these bigger fragrance reviewers are certainly very well off, but and again, I don't want to make the issue about women or not, but certainly, some people make it out that, Demi is maybe the biggest or most popular in FragCom, and that's one reason people want to help her out, because, people are acting like it's a men's world out there. It certainly isn't. It's really a women's world. And women have been getting everything. Demi didn't have to work that hard. And has become far more popular, far more support, far more money than many men could ever imagine. It's simply amazing how fast she has grown. And really hasn't done that much. Yeah, she's put in work, but she hasn't done that much, in the scheme of things. So if you want, to watch some people who have actually put in the hard work and deserve a lot more views, Robes Away's pretty much left us. He saw the writing on the wall like almost 2 years ago, and really is, I'm not sure about all of his personal feelings and dealings, but Robes Away's pretty much left FragCom, and one of the reasons why I'm completely changing this channel as well. There's not really much hope for individual men, especially doing individual real fragrance reviews. But Killer Frags keeps it funny. Sometimes does top 10s. Cool guy, deserves your views. My Mickers, passed away, but still has great content. Centrifugal Force has always been a legend. And there's a few other guys and ladies, some ladies too. Respect the ladies doing, some individual fragrance reviews, but kind of doing top tens and unboxings. So, people who are kind of keeping it real and keeping it fun. But really, the individual fragrance reviewers, YouTube does not want critics, and that's really what's behind this. When YouTube first started, people wanted critiques of individual products. People wanted reviews of individual products. And simply, that's not really how things are done anymore. You try to find people who will be, think of you as a friend, or you try to be an attractive lady or a really attractive guy like Jeremy, and then you try to work the algorithm in any way you can. Uh, whether that being doing flips or spins or whatever the trend is of the day, like with TikTok, whatever the song or the dance is of the day. So, one of my final thoughts, again, I don't hate Demi. I've never, in this video, I don't think you can find a shred of hate or anger towards Demi anywhere. And I'm not saying that her viewership is fake. I'm not saying her traffic is fake, but she certainly could have bought subs or viewerships or increased her traffic. It seems to be very commonplace. And I'm one of the few people who's been very vocal that I've been messaged by plenty of those people and have ignored or told them or just told them and rejected them that I would never buy, traffic, even if it's real traffic. YouTube is broken with how traffic is used, and these companies are doing this, and YouTube is not fixing it. And honestly, because it's been going on for so long and such a big issue, I wouldn't be amazed if YouTube has its hand in the cookie jar, or is involved with these separate systems of buying traffic, and who gets the traffic and how much of it and what's the quality of it. So again, let me say for the record that I have not claimed that Demi's viewers are fake or traffic. I have not claimed that Demi is a failure. She's quite successful. And she could easily pivot. I'm not trying to get her to leave fragrance. I don't think that she will, but she could easily pivot into makeup or fashion or try-ons. Not saying that she should. I'm not saying, some people have different moral issues or moral opinions. She could easily try on, outfits and be highly successful probably at that. She certainly needs to be a little bit more friendly, or, I don't know, perky for something like that. But I've not said anything disrespectful about women. There's lots of women who deserve success and will have success, and it's a whole new world where technology has opened up a lot of avenues, and certainly men should support women if you find that you enjoy their content, if you find that you can relate to them and you enjoy them. But the issue is a lot of men are prioritizing women over men because of this romantic fantasy or romantic desire. They're not really separating their romantic possible feelings outside of being objective with an issue. And this goes into lots of everything. There's carpentry or furniture making channels, tools, hardware, fishing boats, fishing, and almost anything out there you could imagine. And there's a lot of times where attractive woman does it, again, highlighting this simping thing, and it gets hundreds of thousands of views that make a thumbnail where it looks like the woman might be in a pond or in a waterfall where it looks like she has no clothes, and things like that. And it's certainly a part of our culture. So anyways, lastly, I don't know if this video is going to get me in hot water. YouTube's crazy. I don't know if I'm going to get shut down because of this. Who knows? Who cares? I certainly don't make much money, and my objective with starting a YouTube channel really wasn't to become rich in the first place. So I only keep my monetization because if you know anything about YouTube, your YouTube's viewership or getting exposed or getting more views is heavily connected to being monetized. If you're not monetized, YouTube wants that money and limits your exposure. These days, they've broken that rule, but it still kind of applies. But YouTube can put an advertisement on your channel if it's not monetized. Legally, they get away with so much. It's crazy. So if you have any thoughts or opinions about this video, let me know in the comment sections below. Was there something else I should have talked about? I don't know all the details. I heard that Demi threatened to legally sue somebody because of a critical video or something, and them liking the comments that were critical. Not really sure if she's doing that kind of stuff. She might be a worse character than I think, and I think I've been pretty fair and pretty nice in this video. Finally, I made this video largely not to criticize Demi, not to really support myself as a fragrance content creator, because I'm largely going to be moving away from that. If you do want to continue seeing fragrance content reviews, head over to my Instagram. That's where I'm going to do that. I'm not really going to be fragrance reviewing on YouTube much anymore. And who knows, if this channel with this idea doesn't go anywhere, I might leave YouTube. So anyways, let me know what you think about this channel. Let me know. Finally, and again, my final thoughts are, I made this video to help men out. Men, if you want to support Demi, be fine, but don't lower your value or give your energy or your love or your tons of effort towards people who don't reciprocate you. And that could apply to women as well. Women, if somebody's not reciprocating your efforts, why put in the effort? And that certainly would make the world a better place if people who loved or were attracted to each other were reciprocant of each other and only really gave that effort towards those things that that was fair and balanced. And that's the issue, or one of the big issues here. So, and I won't get into the women's aspect of that, because certainly women are going for kind of doing some of the similar things with the rich men. And anyways, we won't get into that. So I hope you have a beautiful day, everybody. Let me know again what you think about this video. I wish that I didn't have to make this video. I wish that this never happened, but the world is what it is, and these topics need to be talked about. And Daddy has set you down. Daddy has given you a little bit of a lesson from the heart, hopefully fair, hopefully honest, and tried to give you a little bit of advice to help you out, to improve your life. So have a beautiful day, everybody. I'll see you soon. If you want to support this channel, you know what to do down below. I'll see you soon, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.